So, have you ever experienced a situation where you take a medicine, a drug that was prescribed for you to make you feel better? For example, you had a headache and the doctor or the pharmacist prescribed a drug for you. You take the drug, and a few minutes later, you begin to feel better. Well, this experience is not a unique one, it is apparent to just about everybody. Most of the time, the effect the drug has on us is not because of what the drug has done. Most of the time, it is the feeling of taking that drug alone that makes us feel better. This is what we call the placebo effect. Now, the placebo effect not just applies to medicine, it has transcended into other areas such as our psychological and physiological lives. Very good example, a few years ago, I heard a story about a woman who insisted that she would only feel better upon taking injection rather than taking the normal drugs that people take when they feel sick. And even though the doctor insisted that she would feel better by the drugs, he insisted that the injection, the pain of the injection, would make her feel like she was better. And so she insisted. Now, what the doctor did was they put in water into the injection and then they injected her with the water. Upon receiving the injection, a few minutes later, the woman started saying that she feels better after the injection. But that was a result of the placebo effect. Also, a story I heard more recently about a man who was sentenced to death by electrocution, right? And the people that were responsible for sentencing him to death, or the people that were supposed to ensure that he had died by electrocution, decided to try out an experiment. They told the guy that they would, instead of electrocuting him, a snake would bite him. And a few minutes after the snake had bitten him, he would begin to feel the effect of the snake bite, and then he would collapse and die. This guy has actually carried let's say a needle or a pin, just injected him a bit. And the man began to manifest, believing that it was a snake that bit him because his eyes were covered. So he didn't know what actually bit him, whether it was a snake or whether it was a pin. But believing that he was supposed to die because of the snake bite, a few minutes later, that young man died. It goes two ways, right? There's what we call the placebo effect and there's what we call the NECEBO effect. The placebo effect is for positive things, the fact that you believe that positive things are going to happen, whereas NECEBO effect is the negative, the opposite of it, where you believe that negative things will happen because of an action that you have taken. So the mind really is a very, very strong tool in determining whether or not a person lives or a person dies.